Montana Television Network. Montana This Morning continues on Montana's News Leader.
Just about 24 hours out from Hurricane Florence's expected landfall. I'm Mo Lalengi in Wrightsville Beach with the latest on the preparations and evacuations.
And back here in the Treasure State, Horseshoe fire near Clarkston has claimed 10 buildings still burning. Coming up, the effort to control that blaze and how neighbors are helping each other even as that fire continues to burn.
Good morning to you. Welcome to your Thursday. It is 6:30, and we've been talking so much about Hurricane Florence. We're continuing this coverage as it approaches landfall. Hurricane Florence weakened to a Category 2 storm yesterday as it moves closer to the Carolinas.
But officials are warning that an extreme storm surge and catastrophic flooding still on the way. CBS's Mo Lalengi is in Wrightsville Beach, North Carolina, with the latest.
Towns up and down the Carolina coast are almost completely deserted. Officials are warning the few who stayed behind of the dangers ahead.
You put your life at risk by staying. Don't plan to leave once the winds and rain start.
Forecasters predict the storm surge from Hurricane Florence could top 13 feet, enough to send water half a mile inland. Firefighters in Raleigh, North Carolina are going door to door, warning people who live in flood zones.
If the wind's high enough, we're going to have our employees hunkered down safely. We're not going to have them out on the road. It's not safe for them to be out there.
Today's the last chance for residents to get out of harm's way. Officials say when the storm is at its worst, first responders may not be able to help everyone get out of trouble.
That's Myrtle, and I mean, we're right there, so we're going to get, I don't know if you just heard what he said, but he said catastrophic damage to life and property.
Patrick Dunphy and Connor Zaya heeded the warnings. They left their South Carolina college and drove home to Massachusetts.
If that thing hits Myrtle, it wouldn't even be like we're worried about getting back to school. It's going to be like, what are we going to get back to?
Meteorologists say the storm's uncertain path has widened the threat to include parts of Georgia. It's also possible Florence hovers along the coastline, increasing the deadly storm surge. Mo Lalengi, CBS News, Wrightsville Beach, North Carolina.
Now, Georgia's governor has declared a state of emergency after forecasters suggested that Florence may be headed further south than previously anticipated. That's a story we're going to continue to follow. Live reports coming up at 7 o'clock on CBS this morning. This is not something to be messed around with.
No, and part of the issue is if it's heading south, we've got the surge to deal with, and then it's going to be slowing down as it heads south, and then it'll make another turn.
And it's important to note that slowing down doesn't mean it's slowing down and dropping rain. No. It's just slowing down in its movement to clear out of the way.
Yeah,
so that rain is going to continue to fall no matter what.
Rain's going to continue. Now it'll continue to weaken, but it's still got a powerful amount of moisture. So surge is one part of this. The other part of this is the rainfall. Look at these numbers. This model estimate pushing it over 28 inches of rain for areas like Wilmington. Now these are models, and just like your forecast, sometimes they're off for some reason or another. But
not yours.
No, I mean mine's dead on every time. I'm going to get a call.
That was a lightning strike right through the window.
Right now, moderate air quality for most of us. One thing you can count on today, temperatures will be cooler than average. We'll probably see a few light rain showers, but nothing particularly heavy. It looks like our temperatures should be into the 50s and 60s. We're going to talk about that accurate forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you so much. Moving right along before anyone loses their job at 6:33 on your Thursday morning, the Horseshoe wildfire in Clarkston continues to burn for its third day. And we do have some new information about the fire. A total of 10 structures have been lost, and more resources are being brought in. MTN's Mallory Peoples reports from the mixed reaction that people have living in that area.
The operation has grown to the point where now the state is involved, with DNRC taking the lead. And this portion of Pole Gulch Road has been turned into a staging area where crews can gather resources before heading in to fight the flames.
This is the worst that I've seen since I've been on this fire department for about 17 years.
The Horseshoe fire is listed as the highest priority for the state of Montana. And officials say it's because of what's at risk in this community. But it's been an uphill battle. Wind blowing over steep terrain covered in vegetation that burns well.
With the juniper, it does have potential to burn hot and then spot. And so that's why the firefighters are just working hard to watch those hot spots and then get in there and break them up and cool them off while they can.
Some residents say it's not just fire crews putting in the hard work. The Duvall family has 2 properties in the area and say they've been doing a lot themselves.
I don't think it's going well, and I think snowballed downhill, you know.
The only thing I saw that was doing any good was the helicopters and the planes flying in there.
While some are unhappy with efforts and the losses, others have a different perspective.
Pretty impressive.
Pet food, diapers, clothes, and more. It's all been donated for the victims of the fire, and it's been piling up at the Rasmussen house after they posted online that they'll hold donations. They're also temporarily housing livestock.
We wound up with a cow and calf and a dozen chickens.
They say help continues to pour in.
Woke up a lot of people to realize how vulnerable we are way out here. And yeah, people really come together.
And it's not over yet, as fire crews continue to work the fire line. Reporting from Clarkston, I'm Mallory Peebles with MTN News.
The fire is now 1,525 acres in size. It's 18% contained. 128 crew members are working on that fire.
In other headlines on this Thursday, Bozeman police officers are asking for your help as they investigate an assault and an attempted robbery that happened Tuesday night. Police say 7:30 p.m. a Middle Eastern man in the area of 13th Avenue and Koch was walking home when he was approached by 4 white men. The men reportedly began to attack the victim, attempt to take personal property from him. The men then fled on foot. One of the suspects was a white man approximately 6 feet tall, slender, with purple hair. Now, that incident remains under investigation. If you have any information, you're asked to contact the Bozeman Police Department. And in Mining City headlines, a 52-year-old man facing a felony burglary charge after breaking into at least 2 restaurants over the weekend. Police say Robert Hudson illegally entered Meadows Bar and Grill in the Park 217 restaurant sometime late Friday or early Saturday. While in Park 217, Hudson is accused of drinking from bottles of wine and beer and damaging the interior. He's also accused of damaging the outside of the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Union building on Silver Street. He does remain in custody this morning.
And the construction of the new Bozeman High School has been underway for quite some time now, and crews have made quite the progress. MTN's Emma Hamilton has an inside look on how the construction is going.
Bozeman's new high school, set to open in the fall of 2020, is currently 3 weeks ahead of its construction schedule. As of right now, the site currently has 75 trades working each day, and the project is still in the first quarter.
We're looking at, in this rendering here, this is a view looking west here. This is comprised of 8 classrooms/labs and some storage, and then a teacher planning space.
The building will have an enormous and bright commons area with glass walls that will have various uses for it.
So what we're standing in here is a 2-story space, first and second floor space, 3-story volume. So it's basically the height of what you're seeing back here, probably that lower steel beam at the top there.
The library is set to be 2 floors, and the cafeteria will have 600 seats. The competition gym and auditorium will have 2,500 seats, while the 2 auxiliary gyms will have 200 seats each. Plenty of space for plenty of kids. The project itself has been smooth according to planners, and as the permits from the city come in, they continue to build. In Bozeman, Emma Hamilton, MTN News.
And of course, the plan is to enclose as much as possible so they can continue to work throughout the winter.
Lights, camera, action. That's for the rest of the week as Butte goes Hollywood. MTN's John Amy tells us what to expect for the 3rd annual Covalite Film Festival.
It's showtime for the Covalite International Film Festival in Butte.
We'll be showing over 100 films from 36 countries. We expect over 100 filmmakers who are involved in those films to be in Uptown Butte all week long.
It's the 3rd year for the film festival that will be showing films at the Covalite Theater, the Thornton Building, and the Copper Lounge in the Finland Hotel. And there's plenty of variety.
We've got films about reclamation and Superfund. We've got really great documentaries. We've got really great narratives. We've got a couple films that are made in Montana.
This filmmaker from Portland will be featuring a documentary on a major industrial cleanup in Oregon that he believes will resonate with Butte audiences.
And I feel like our film is an uplifting, very positive success story, and that could be very inspiring for the projects that are going to be inevitably happening here and the projects that will inevitably be difficult.
And while filmmakers are excited to have their films premiere on the big screen, like the one here at the Covalite Theater, they also say Butte as a town is quite photogenic and could be ready for its close-up.
I don't know many other locations where you can get the diversity of architecture and that you can get here. You've got westerns just outside the city. You've got uptown Butte that you could do anything from like 1900s all the way on up.
It's so beautiful, and the lighting here is perfect too. It's like perfect lighting. It seems like all day. It's nice. Yeah.
In Butte, John Amy, MTN News.
John tells us that film festival runs through Sunday. Films playing between noon and 10 o'clock in the evening every day. We're going to take a quick break, but not before a stop in Big Sky and the Big Apple. Tracking the Human Footprint. I'm Chet Lehman. The 14th Biennial Scientific Conference on the Greater Yellowstone Ecosystem going on at Big Sky. Coming up, we'll take a look at one small aspect of some of that research.
Good morning. Ahead here on CBS this morning, we're along the Carolina coast where communities are now ghost towns ahead of Hurricane Florence's potentially catastrophic landfall. We'll talk to North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper. And only on CBS this morning, our interview with FBI Director Christopher Wray, the country he considers the biggest threat to the U.S. and whether Americans can have confidence in the election system. See you right at 7.